Rabbits, it's Trixie, and this is part 2 of the video in which I want to share with you how I as a German became fluent in English. In the first part I already told you about my childhood, my school career and my studies. So if you haven't watched it yet, you can find a link in the description or simply click here. In the end of the last video, I asked you whether or not you were interested in hearing the rest of the story, and many of you said yes, which made me really happy, so I decided to start filming right away. The reason why I was splitting this video is because I want to dedicate the right amount of time to each stage of my life that made me discover my passion for languages and improve my English skills. You know, I simply don't want to rush this story because it means a lot to me. And maybe hearing all of this and seeing this glow in my eyes will inspire some of you as well. So I hope you understand, and let's dive right back into the story. This time I want to talk about the influence that my first real job, my relationship and my work here on YouTube had on my attitude towards the English language. When I studied psychology, my original plan was to become a psychotherapist one day, as it is for around 80% of students doing so, I would say. Weirdly enough, my favorite subject was in clinical psychology, but I guess some people will hate me for saying that, statistics and the economic side of psychology. The stuff that most others hated and wished were not part of their studies. So unsurprisingly, I decided not to do a master and did not become a psychotherapist. Instead, I finished my studies right after completing my bachelor's degree and looked for a job. And now we all wonder, what did Trixie end up doing for a living? Consulting? Finances? Maybe politics? No, none of that. I started working in the game industry. And yeah, I agree that sounds a bit awkward at first. Languages, business psychology, games. But you see, I applied for a very specific position that actually required a lot of psychological knowledge. I was and still am a game balancer, which means that I'm responsible for both the math and the psychological aspects behind game features. How difficult should the first level be? What's the right balance between ambition and frustration here? What keeps players in the game? How can we reward them for a certain action? How many experience points should the player get here? What is it that he feels in this or that situation? How should the game react to that? So you see, a lot of questions that have to do with psychological processes. I really loved it. But that's not all. Next important aspect, the company was located in Hamburg, Germany, but the company language was English. The colleagues working with me came from all over the world, which is where my language skills came into play. Looking back, I would say that this was the ultimate breakthrough concerning my fluency in English. I was basically forced, in a good way, to speak English instead of German all day long. So this was the first time where I used English in a daily life environment. I wasn't analyzing texts anymore, not discussing historical events, not juggling time tenses for the sake of it. Finally, this was real-life English. English in a relatable context. Asking for help with a task, going out for lunch, spending the evening with friends, introducing yourself, talking about your hobbies and getting to know each other. This was the kind of communication in English that I liked. Finally, the language was alive again. It was part of my life. A real thing with a soul and the magic that I loved so much. Not any longer this theoretical construct and technical information tool. Languages aren't math, they aren't screwdrivers. And because I loved it so much, simply talking to all of these people, many of them native English speakers and not teachers with questionable skills themselves, learning English became an automatic process that I didn't feel anymore. I improved my skills day by day, quicker than ever, without even noticing it. It just came to me naturally, and that felt amazing. I learned that languages are the key to the world, to knowledge, to different cultures, different places, and awesome people. But apart from these social and cultural aspects that make learning languages so valuable, my job told me something else. It taught me that there is a connection between language skills and career, success, charisma, and overall self-confidence. My job required that I gave professional presentations of the game features I worked on in English. And of course, the more comfortable I became speaking it, the more serious people took me and what I said. I loved to impress them, to answer critical questions quickly and with a smirk, and I completely lost my fear of speaking in front of an audience. It seemed that people looked up to me when I was speaking English. I radiated confidence and passion, and I was really proud of that. I had grown with my language skills. They had become stronger, and I had become stronger. So my first job added 2 important answers to the question why languages are awesome and worth learning. They are essential for socializing without boundaries and make complete new worlds appear in front of you. And they can make you as a person stronger and happier and more confident. However, there is something even more important that I owe to my job. My work is the reason why I met Eric. Eric, who's my boyfriend for over 4 years now and the father to our 2 amazing daughters. Isn't that crazy? A guy from Venezuela, South America, and a German girl girl falling in love, a linear distance of 8,000 kilometers between their two places of birth. And all that basically thanks to both our ability to speak English. In the beginning, since Eric didn't speak German and I didn't speak Spanish, we communicated in English. And as happy couples do, we were on cloud 9 and spent a lot of time together. Also, it wasn't long until he and I moved in together. So not only did I speak English the whole time at work, it now also affected my private life. The evenings, the weekend, everything. And of course also movies, series, and every kind of activity. I spoke and listened to English basically 24/7, which is the best language training I can imagine. Completely for free and without any pressure. And if you're then a very ambitious and language enthusiastic person on top of all that like me, you push yourself even more. Whenever I noticed, oh, I don't know this word, I don't know how to say that. Isn't there a better way of expressing that? I immediately researched and found out more about it. I was addicted to learning new words and expressions, to improving my grammar and pronunciation. And it's funny because while Eric didn't care much about correctness, as long as he was somewhat understood, I was on fire. I wanted to know everything and groove my skills as much as possible. But still in a gentle way, you know, without blaming myself too much for mistakes and with a lot of patience. I just saw my life situation as a big chance and I really wanted to take it. My brain was like a sponge. It didn't feel like learning, it felt like eating delicious knowledge food. And seriously, what could be more motivating and encouraging than progress that feels like eating tasty snacks? Sometimes I just found myself using a new expression that I didn't even remember hearing or memorizing. It simply became available. Things were suddenly unlocked. I leveled up without consciously putting effort in grinding experience points. As I said, I work in the game industry, so of course I had to add a metaphor like that. It was amazing, and I'm so glad and grateful that this happened to me. And then there was YouTube. I don't know how many of you guys are aware, but a long time ago, it was back when I studied, I had a channel called Trixieberry. All the videos were in German, because back then I didn't even consider another option. Even though I wasn't incredibly successful, I really enjoyed making videos for this channel. However, I stopped doing that when I started working at my job, but I've always missed it. At some point, I told Eric about it. We watched a couple of videos and he encouraged me to get back to filming. I guess he simply saw this passion in my eyes and kind of thought it was cool. So I did. But since so much time had passed and I felt like I was another person now, I didn't want to use my old channel any longer, so I created a new one. Can you guess what it was called? It was Don't Trust the Rabbit. And I don't know why actually, but the first videos I made for Don't Trust the Rabbit were in German again. I guess I thought that my English was good, but not good enough to build a whole new community from scratch onto it. But still I quickly felt that something about making videos in German was not right. So I started filming my first English ones. Just a couple at first, but I just noticed that this is what I wanted to do. And it was not long after when I decided to switch my content completely to English videos, which was one of the best decisions of my life. Yes, I was already learning a lot, but writing all of my scripts in English, figuring out how to express my opinion best, how to make a joke work best, practicing my rhetorical skills. It all helped me so much. But what's even more important, targeting an international audience with my videos, I found the perfect direction for my channel: culture and languages. And I found lots and lots of people sharing my passion, which again encouraged me, inspired me, and gave me tons of new ideas for new videos. People actually enjoyed my content. I couldn't believe it, which showed me that I did make a lot of progress. Every single video was a documentation of my current knowledge. And whenever I looked back to older uploads, I could see that my accent had become subtler, that my English level had become more and more advanced, and that I had grown even more self-confidence. The positive feedback motivated me, and the criticism made me aware of my mistakes and ambitious to work on them. When people told me that I used or pronounced a word incorrectly, then I wasn't pissed, I was grateful. I loved hearing the advice of native speakers and of other language enthusiasts. It was the perfect fine-tuning for my English skills. The feedback and encouragement of my viewers and my videos were like a mirror held up to me, and once again it made me feel proud. It made me feel that I was on the right track, and I promised myself to never stop learning. Learning a language is not just practicing grammar, vocabulary, and time tenses. As I said in the very beginning, it's a journey. It's about making friends, getting to know other cultures, finding keys to other worlds. About respect, self-confidence, and self-development. About motivation, dedication, and ambition. About love and passion. And like every good journey, it has different stages, with every new place bearing new experiences and new secrets. My childhood gave me the curiosity I needed. School gave me my first set of tools, the technical equipment. My studies showed me what enthusiasm is, and that it's okay and good to do things your own way. My job taught me how important languages are to get to know new people and cultures, and that they can make us improve ourselves, grow confidence and trust in ourselves. Due to my relationship, English became a 24/7 part of my life. And lastly, thanks to my work here on YouTube, I realized that languages bring people together. People like you and me. It provided me with a platform to share my passion, and with a mirror that I can look into whenever I doubt myself. Alright, rabbits, this is the end of the story so far. I hope that these 2 videos that I made on how I became fluent in English gave you the insight that you wanted. And it would make me even happier to know that I inspired some of you. My experiences definitely show that learning languages is not boring. It means a variety of different stages that you go through, and it teaches you so much more than just vocabulary. You can improve your skills in various ways, and in the end, you will improve yourself. Knowledge and wisdom can be found everywhere. And if you liked what I told you, then maybe it's time to write your own story now, to begin your own adventurous language journey. I truly hope that you also liked part 2 of my video. If so, please leave a thumbs up, because that would make me really, really happy. As always, feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and here is another video that you should definitely check out as well. Subscribe to Don't Trust the Rabbit for more videos like this one, and if you want to support my channel even a bit more, then you can also find me on Patreon. I would really appreciate your help. Now I wish you all a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!